Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Believe me, I was young once, many years ago. And I used to ask these questions. Are we all satisfied with our lives? Have we all done something that we are proud of and left a mark? Have we made a difference in our society? Do we think beyond the latest model of cars and cell phones? What keeps us away from thinking about these things that really matter? I'm sure that we are all capable of doing things which we are passionate about. And I'm sure that we can all take out time for doing these things. But what keeps us away from doing these things is the main question. I think having a secure job, a regular income is something which keeps us away from mostly following our passion. We have fees to pay, medical bills, house rents, and so on. And having this in the back of our mind is something which really lets us stay and accept that monotony of life which we are used to. I was once in this situation. After graduating, I joined a 9-to-5 office and eventually started my own practice. I was making concrete structures. But while making those structures, these questions kept on coming back to me. And I realized that I wasn't happy what I was doing. I was working for my clients and not for myself. It was not an easy decision to make. I had a lot of discussions with my family and friends. And after a lot of thinking, I decided to leave my practice and started a new chapter in my life. It was a new beginning for me. I started from scratch and started my own firm, which is called Copper and Steel. At Copper and Steel, I wanted to reflect my own aesthetic sense and my own style of architecture. I wanted to explore new boundaries. I wanted to explore new directions. And that's what Copper and Steel did to me, provided me the time to go beyond architecture. At Copper and Steel, I was practicing architecture, making interiors, doing landscaping, designing furniture, publishing books, doing art installation, and working with the craft of copper. But that was not it. I wanted to go beyond that. I wanted to do some work for my city where I grew up. And that was something which really made a big difference in my life. Karachi was going through a very bad phase during 2010. Killings, kidnappings, gunpoint snatching was happening on a daily basis, and we all faced that every day. It was at that time that 9 architects, artists, designers, and writers came together and formed a society called Pursukun Karachi. The whole idea behind Pursukun Karachi was to give a message of peace to the citizens and tackle small and big issues through art, architecture, design, and literature. We never thought of doing dharnas or going in the public, but subtle messages using our strength, which was creativity, to tackle these issues. Hatiyar Nahi Pyar, which was one of the topics which we tackled first, which was led by a sculptor, Abdul Jabbar Gul. The whole purpose of Hatiyar Nahi Pyar was to focus on children and youth, especially those areas which were trigger friendly and where gun culture was acceptable. We asked students from communication design colleges all over Karachi and asked them to prepare visuals for us around that subject, making posters and videos. Later on, set of artists and sculptors, they went to these schools because we felt that it's always better to tackle this issue at a younger stage before they start joining these gangs. Most of these schools were in these areas where gun culture was very acceptable. They were asked to voluntarily surrender their toy guns in exchange of educational toys, books and art and pottery classes. And also, we had discussions with them. We felt it's very important to have one-to-one discussion with these kids and also with their family, because we feel that unless the same message is given to them at home, this is not going to go any further, especially the mothers who are always there with their children. So we educated them. And later on, with all the toy guns which were collected by these artists, they were laid down on the ground and were bulldozed in a public forum. This whole thing received a very positive publicity and coverage. And later on, the same act was followed by the police in Karachi. These are small and subtle messages, but they have a bigger impact. Pursukun Karachi is also taking other projects as well, and the conservation of Can Station Karachi is also one of them. Can Station every day receives about thousands of people from all over Pakistan who come to Karachi for a better life, and this serves as a gateway to the city. It's unfortunately, it's a 125-year-old stone structure, but it's covered in almost 20 layers of paint and plaster. Our idea was to bring it back to its original condition. We wanted to create awareness among public, and the whole idea of bringing the public and the government officials together. We started having meetings right at Can Station to make them aware of how beautiful this whole structure is. Of course, we were dependent on our creative community, and we asked artists to donate their paintings, and it was auctioned. And from the funds which were raised from these auctions, we started the renovation work. And as you can see, that's slowly taking shape, and the layers are being removed, and you can see the before and after effects of that project. But while we were working on Can Station project, we realized there was no sitting space for the public and their families. There was only one bench outside the Can Station which was reserved for police. As we had no funds, we had to come up with a creative way of solving this issue. Again, we called our architect friends, designers, artists, and asked them to design and donate a bench each for this project. Not a big thing to ask. Everybody happily agreed to do so. And the result was that we started receiving these beautiful sculptural benches, and while we were even putting those benches up, people started using them. There was such a big need for that. And this whole thing has been only done through the help of the artist community. Easiest thing was to go to a multinational company and ask them to donate money and buy a bench and put it there with their logo on it. But I think involving the community is something which we really work for. And that's something which is very important, which can turn into something as barren as that to a beautiful sculptural space. In the end, I want to say that, we have to set up our priorities. Today, the lineup, I'm so happy to see so many youngsters who are following their passion, who are following what they actually believe in. I think that's what the whole idea is, that we have to follow our passion. We have to work on what we believe in. I know that all of us cannot afford to leave our jobs and work full-time for that, but I think we can all design and donate a bench. That's the least we can do. All we have to do is take a first step in the right direction. Thank you very much.